If you are trying to conceive with PCOS and you are struggling, you are totally not alone, and I know exactly how that feels. In this video, I'm going to share with you some of the things that I did myself to improve my own fertility and to enable me to conceive naturally twice in spite of my PCOS, and the things that I teach to a lot of my clients. I'm Taryn from PCOS Diet Support, and if you have PCOS or you want to know a bit more about PCOS, I really want to encourage you to subscribe to my channel, click the bell, get the notifications when new videos are released every week. When I was first diagnosed with PCOS, probably around 11 years ago, I just had this nagging suspicion that there was something wrong, there was something amiss. We were trying to conceive. I went off the pill and I just never got a period. And I found that very difficult to deal with, obviously, especially when you're trying to conceive. Not having a period can really hinder that. So I went to my GP and she suspected that I may have PCOS, and she did the full blood test. We went for the ultrasound. And when she actually gave me my diagnosis, it was literally about a 5-minute appointment. She didn't explain what PCOS was. She didn't explain what it meant for me. And she just basically gave me two options. Either I could go back on the birth control pill, which made no sense to me if I was trying to conceive, or she said that I could go to a fertility clinic. And obviously I opted for the fertility appointment, but I knew that it would take forever to get that appointment. And I was just so frustrated, and I just felt surely there must be something that I can do for my own body to boost my fertility. And that started many an hour of research, of looking at journal articles, of trying to understand what PCOS was and what it meant for me. And that was when I came across this piece of research where they took a group of about 400 women with PCOS and they divided them into 4 groups. And the groups were a group that only took Clomid, a group that took Clomid and metformin combined, a group that took metformin on its own, and a group that made dietary and lifestyle changes. And you know what was just so incredible to discover was that the group that made the dietary and lifestyle changes, they had the most successful, the highest number of live births and successful pregnancies. Not the group with metformin, not the group with Clomid, not the group that were combined, but the diet and lifestyle changes. And when I had initially gone to my doctor to get diagnosed with PCOS, I went with the intention of asking for Clomid or metformin. So the fact that I could do something for myself, that I didn't need, that I had some kind of control over what was happening in my body was huge for me. So you might be saying, well, what did you do? Kind of what did you eat? What's the secret to it? The first thing that I did is that I really focused on eating really good, nourishing food. Okay, I cut out the junk. If it had more than 2 or 3 ingredients that I couldn't pronounce, I was like, that's out. I don't want any chemicals. I don't want any nonsense in my body. I only want good quality, nutritious food that's going to balance my hormones, but that's going to, when I do get pregnant, I want to nourish my baby. So I focused firstly on whole foods. Lots of lean protein, organic if I could afford it, whole foods, lots of fruits, lots of vegetables, just really clean eating. That was the first thing that I did. From kind of really focusing on clean eating, I took it one step further and I eliminated gluten and I eliminated dairy. Now, if you're interested in learning more about why I eliminated gluten and why I eliminated dairy, there was a lot of information at PCOSdietsupport.com. But basically, both gluten and dairy are very unhelpful for women with PCOS, and I will do more videos on this in the future. But they are very unhelpful for women with PCOS, and it can really make your PCOS hormones worse. Now, it's really important that we want to do what we can to balance those hormones, because once we have our insulin under control, our testosterone under control, you will be more likely to ovulate. Obviously, ovulation is like the goal when you're trying to conceive. You want to be able to ovulate, obviously. So I eliminated dairy, I eliminated gluten, and I focused on whole foods. Okay, that is something that I really, really want to encourage you to do. I really want to encourage you to have a look at what you say. Start small. Have a look at what you have for breakfast and say, how can I make this more nutritious? How can I make this more hormone balancing, more PCOS friendly? So that is one piece of the puzzle, is looking at diet. Okay. The next thing that I looked at is that I realized that diet alone wasn't enough. So I started looking at what supplements I should be taking. And if you're trying to conceive, I'm sure you know, or hopefully you are taking some kind of prenatal. It's really important that you're taking some kind of folate or folic acid. Very important. And I know in the UK especially, they really push that you should be taking folic acid. So start on your prenatals. Okay, if you're trying to conceive, you should be taking a prenatal. But a prenatal is going to give you some kind of baseline of vitamins and minerals that you're going to need to support your baby, but it's not necessarily going to help you with your PCOS in particular. So the vitamins and supplements that I started taking is, firstly, I found that 85% of women with PCOS, 85% of women with PCOS are deficient in vitamin D. And vitamin D plays this massive role in your fertility. So if you're trying to conceive with PCOS and you're not taking your vitamin D supplements, I really want to encourage you, you need to be taking vitamin D. Vitamin D is amazing, and it's been shown to help in so many different things, from mood to kind of helping with depression. Fertility is huge. And in fact, there was also another piece of research where they looked at women who were undergoing fertility treatments, and they found that there was a higher proportion of women going for fertility treatments were deficient in vitamin D. So make sure you're taking a vitamin D supplement with your prenatal. And then there are a couple of other supplements that you could be taking with PCOS. The next one that I would recommend would be an omega-3. I started taking omega-3. Omega-3 is really anti-inflammatory. It's been shown to lower testosterone levels in women with PCOS. And I just think that it's an all-round good supplement that most of the population should be taking. So vitamin D, omega-3, and the final one is an inositol. Now, I'm going to be doing another video on inositol, why I think inositol is so important for women with PCOS, but I started taking an inositol supplement. And just those things combined, the dietary and lifestyle changes and those vitamins, enabled me to conceive. 4 months after making these changes, I conceived with my daughter, and I now also have a son. And I did get my fertility appointment. I went to the fertility clinic, and actually they said I'd had all the blood tests, to monitor my cycle and whether I'd been ovulating. And they said to me, Taryn, you ovulated this month. And I said, I know I ovulated. And my husband had to have he had to have investigations as well. And they said, there was absolutely nothing wrong with your husband. And I said, yes, I know, because I had had my positive pregnancy test about a week before my fertility appointment. So that was the start of this love of food and how food can nourish our bodies and how food can be so incredible for our PCOS. Now, I know that not every woman with PCOS has the same kind of story as I do. I know it doesn't happen as quickly for many women with PCOS. But I do want to encourage you. There was another woman who emailed me a couple of years ago, and she had been trying to conceive for about 8 years, and she had done multiple rounds of IVF. And I got the most amazing email from her, because she said, Tara, we were at our wits' end. We were emotionally spent, we were financially spent, and we were ready to give up this dream of kind of becoming a mom and starting a family. And my husband and I decided we were going to give one last round, one last shot of IVF. And if it didn't happen on this round, we were going to call it quits. All she did was change the way she eats and take the supplements that I recommended. And she had a successful round of IVF, and she was able to become a mom. So I really want to encourage you, if you're struggling to conceive with PCOS, I really want to encourage you, look at what you're eating, make sure that you're taking supplements, and you will give your body the best chance of being able to conceive. You'll give your body in the healthiest place to be able to conceive with PCOS.